Hey, what's up? How are you doing? Did you just answer that? Maybe in your head? Okay, I'll accept that. What's going on? So recently on my main channel, the Christopher Chaos channel, I did a video about like the tattoo policy for the Army. You know, what tattoos can you get, which ones can't you get, and where not, and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of made me think about, hey, maybe I should do a vlog video about my tattoos. Maybe you know nothing about my tattoos. Maybe you know some stuff about my tattoos, but I thought maybe this might be kind of a fun video to kind of, you know, talk about them. What are my tattoos? Where did I get them? Whatever, the story behind, I guess, my tattoos. So hopefully you're interested in that. Hopefully you're here to learn about Christopher Chaos's tattoos, I guess. So I suppose we have to start from the beginning, right? My very first tattoo. Is the camera a little bit sideways? There we go. I think that's better. My very first tattoo, or my very first one. Let's see, what year would it have been? I gotta set the scene, I guess, huh? Guess it would have been 2004, I think. I was, what was it, a specialist? No, I would have been a sergeant. I was a sergeant in the United States Army. I was soon gonna be going off to Iraq. I think we started a few months or so before I was gonna take off to Iraq, and I wanted a tattoo. I'd never had a tattoo, obviously. It was my first tattoo, so I was curious. I wanted to get a tattoo, and I went not very far outside of the gate of Fort Carson on B Street to a tattoo shop that I don't think exists anymore. If it does, I don't think it has the same name, but it was called Awesome Ink. I know I drive past there all the time, and I don't think it's called Awesome Ink anymore. I don't know, so I don't know if it's the same ownership or not, or what the deal is, but I don't believe it's called that anymore. But that is where I went. It was just outside of Fort Carson, and I wanted a barcode. Why was it I wanted a barcode? I don't remember. I think it was just a good idea, whatever, that popped into my head, where I was like, well, I'm gonna get a barcode tattoo. Why not? So it's kind of covered up into some of the other tattoos, but it's still kind of there somewhat. You can kind of see it's, you know, a little bit faded, a little bit harder to see with all the other tattoo kind of stuff, but that's where it's at, right? It says Made in America across the top, and then the numbers on the bottom of it actually make my birth date. So I came into the tattoo shop and I was like, hey, I want to get a tattoo, I want to get a barcode. And they're like, hey, do you have a barcode that you already want to get? And I was like, no, I'm just gonna make one up or whatever. So the tattoo artist was like, he was the owner actually of that place, and he was like, I could grab something from around here and we'll scan it and do it onto your arm. And the only thing you really had that had a good barcode was like a Robitussin bottle or whatever. And he was like, you sure you don't have anything else? Otherwise you're gonna end up with a Robitussin barcode on your arm. So I kind of thought about that, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I should have something a little bit cooler. I should have planned this a little bit better. So I went out to my car, dug around through my car to see what I could find. And the only thing I could really find that seemed, you know, decent that had a barcode on it was I had a Rolling Stone magazine in the back seat of my car. So I grabbed that. The issue, I don't remember none of that stuff like that. So I grabbed that, and he scanned that into a scanner to put it onto the, you know, stencil they use for, you know, tracing over when they do tattoos. And it was slightly modified because I think some of the lines like would have came down into the numbers. So we basically took out any of the lines that kind of came down, but the thickness of all the lines for the most part was basically from a Rolling Stone magazine. So that was my very first tattoo, and I had that for several years before I went on to get my second tattoo. My second tattoo, a little bit covered up by my watch, but you can probably see it, and that is a heartogram. Some people misthink that it might be like a pentagram or something like that, but it's actually a heartogram from the band Him. This one was kind of a pure pressure type of tattoo, I guess. I was going to that same place, it was still Awesome Ink, with some other friends. They were going to get tattoos, they wanted to get like some foot tattoos or something, I forget what it was. And they were like, hey Chris, you should get a tattoo too. I wasn't really going there to get a tattoo. I was just kind of going to hang out with my friends. They were going to get tattoos. I was going to hang out with them. They knew that that was the place that I went to before we deployed, because this was after the deployment that we were doing this, and they knew that's where I went for getting my tattoo. So they were like, we'll go to that place, man, and we'll check it out. And so they were getting tattoos, and then they kind of peer pressured me into getting a tattoo. So I was like, all right, fine, I guess I'll get a tattoo. At the time, I was wearing a Him hat. I had a hat on that had that heartogram on it. And I was really into like Viva La Bam, right? Bam Margera. I was like good friends with, you know, those members of that band. And so I think that was mainly how I got into the band Him. I don't really listen to them anymore. They're still a good band. I like them, I guess, but I probably haven't listened to them in a long time. But I was wearing a Him hat, and I was like, oh, let's do this, I guess. So that's what we did. I think I paid 50, 60 bucks or whatever for a heartogram to go on top of my wrist. The next tattoo would come not too much longer. I think it was maybe a year, maybe less than a year or whatever, and that was the flames that we have over here. This one is actually inspired by Chester Bennington, sadly the late Chester Bennington, from Linkin Park. He had some more realistic like blue flames on both of his arms, and it was kind of inspired by that. I thought that looked really cool. I didn't want to just directly copy Chester Bennington, so I wanted flames because I just like the design, I guess, of flames. But I wanted them to be different, and I wanted more like a hot rod style flame. So I didn't want like realistic looking flames. I wanted like the style of flames you would probably see like on a hot rod or on a motorcycle or something like that. They're just this kind of style, right? Not super realistic or anything like that, just kind of some cool looking flames. So I went to a place that actually does still exist in Colorado Springs, which is Are You Tattooed? This tattoo was done by the owner, sadly the late owner. He went by the name of Chicago was his name. His real name is like Tim, but he was the one that actually did this. Originally, it was just all black. It wasn't until maybe another 6 months or a year later that I decided to add the red. That ended up eventually fading away over the years and stuff like that. I got touched up to re-put the red back in. So the same guy, Chicago, later redid that. Actually, after this was already done, which we'll get to that one, but later added the red back in there after it kind of faded away over several years. I guess my skin just didn't take to it very well, whatever the deal was, but eventually it ended up kind of fading away. So then there's the last tattoo that I've gotten, I guess, unless you count this one, because this was the last thing I did was getting this one re-shaded red, but last new tattoo, I guess, that I gotten, which is the whole arm thing I got going on here. So this one, this would have came probably around like 2006 or 2007 time frame. For whatever reason, I don't know why. I wanted a tribal sleeve tattoo. I knew I wanted like a sleeve. I don't know why I decided that I wanted a tribal tattoo. I don't really know. I guess a whole lot of thought really didn't go into many of my tattoos. I mean, I guess this one's sort of with the flame kind of thing, but everything else doesn't seem like it had a whole lot of it. I mean, later this one had more thought into it, but starting off with it first, it was just gonna be a sleeve tattoo that was a tribal one, and why, I don't really know, I don't remember. So I had gone back to that same place, Are You Tattooed? Chicago was the one that had done this one too, but at the first, it was just the outline. It's kind of started off with doing, I think, the first half of it in one session, and then the second half in the other session. This comes all the way up to kind of like the top of my shoulder. So it comes all the way up, and we did it in 2 sessions for just the outline. Eventually, I was going to get it all filled in black, and it was just going to be a black tribal thing that came all the way up to right about there. And then my mind had changed as far as filling it in all black. I was flipping through like a tattoo magazine, and I had seen a tattoo of an individual that had like a tribal kind of design like up on their shoulder, and inside the tribal design was a bunch of like creepy clowns. And I was like, that looks pretty cool. I'm not into clowns, so I didn't want to do anything with clowns, but that kind of sparked the idea of, hey, what if I filled it with something? Rather than just fill it with all black, filled it with some kind of design. And the first thing I think that popped in my head was skulls. I was always been into skulls, the design of skulls, the look of skulls, whatever the case is. And I was like, well, what if we fill it with a bunch of skulls? I'd had a No Fear wallet that had a bunch of skulls all over the No Fear wallet. And that was pretty cool. And so I used that as the inspiration to the artist. I told him, it's like, hey, I got this wallet that's got skulls all over it. I would kind of like to fill it with these kind of style skulls. Not just any hand-free, whatever skull, just like these kind of style skulls. So he basically used that as a template to be able to use that to put inside of the skulls. But then I also wanted to add a little bit of like style or flavor to some of the skulls. So that way some of them had like their own unique kind of characteristics. Examples of that is like you have, let's see, like one right here, you can kind of maybe see, I don't even know how well it'll focus. You can kind of see it. You may not even be able to see it at all. I don't know. But there is kind of part of a skull here where it looks like he got shot in the head. It's got like a little bit of like a hole in his skull, like maybe he got a bullet wound. There's also other ones, like this one's got like a star for an eye right over here. You have certain other kind of characteristics. There's one with a bandana right there. My favorite one is back behind my arm. I don't even know if I'll be able to get it on camera. Yeah, there you go. The one with the eyeball. I think that one's probably my favorite one. I think that one looks the coolest, but there's several of them that have like their own little characteristics here and there. So that was another process of like 2 or 3 more sessions, I think, to complete that. This was obviously the most expensive one because it's the largest one. I think it cost a little over $1,000 to end up doing that, and obviously took the longest too because it was, like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, I think, tattoo sessions, each of them being like 5 hours long or something like that. So it took a long time. And that's the last new tattoo that I had gotten. When I had this one refilled in, that was probably like in 2015, 16 maybe, I think it was, when I had that refilled in. I haven't done any new tattoos since. I would like to sleeve this arm as the next one possibly. I feel like that one's gonna have a little bit more kind of thought process going into it, not just some random thing. It's probably gonna be something really colorful. I would like to be really colorful, maybe something like Superman themed since I'm a big Superman fan. But I don't know, it definitely is gonna have more thought put into it than a lot of my other tattoos. But those are my tattoos. I don't have tattoos anywhere else, just my arms. That's it, no hidden tattoos, don't worry. I'm not lying to you. It's just my arms, that's the only ones I have. And that's probably the only ones I most likely will get. I probably will sleeve this arm and that'll probably be the end of getting tattoos. I probably, maybe eventually might get something on the chest, maybe something on the back. I don't really know. I kind of have a feeling that probably whenever I do fully sleeve this right arm, that may be it. I don't really know if there'll be anything else. I don't ever plan on doing anything probably on the legs, probably nothing on the stomach. I heard that sucks really bad, and the ribs too. So I don't really know. I don't really know if the arm will be it and never any more tattoos, but I guess time will tell. So there you go. If you guys have tattoos, I'd like to hear from you. I know this vlog channel doesn't get a ton of views or anything like that, nothing like the Christopher Chaos channel, but those of you that are awesome enough to come hang out and watch the vlogs, what tattoos do you have? Love to hear from you guys in the comments. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. See ya. That's not a thing we do on this channel, is it? It's just abruptly ends. All of a sudden, just boom, it's gone and the vlog's over. So I guess we're gonna